Hi, welcome to one more piano tutorial here at Octopus Music School. So today we will talk about this composer called A.Skrjabin. So I selected one of his preludes, Op.11, 24 preludes. So, and here is my first advice. I really recommend you to listen to all the 24 preludes by Chopin first, and also listen to this one, all the 24 preludes. The reason is because they are, so A.Skrjabin also wrote the preludes in all the keys. So, and the keys are the same as Chopin. So it starts with the C major, then we have the A minor, then we have G major, then we have E minor. So always like that, by the circle of fifths, major key, minor key. This one is the one in E major and C sharp minor, or the number 9 and number 10. They are the same key. The one I'm playing is the number 10. So this is a tutorial for I would say early advanced students, and the reason I am I select this piece is because we had our first piano competition this year, and that was something awesome, and I want the students to have more options, and the advanced students, the intermediate students, and also the beginners. So this one is one I think is a good piece for the advanced or early advanced students. I think it's a good piece for a competition because it's a short piece, and when we are in a competition, we have limited time. So it's important to don't select very long pieces. And in general, you will have to spend more time for the classical sonata. So this is a good one, in my opinion. So I will not talk about the key. I think this is, if you are an advanced student, you already know that key. It's important to know all the 3 modes of the minor scale. So let's start talking about this piece. First, I wanted to say that everything I will say here, it's based on my own experience with the piece. I really never worked this piece with a teacher, or I never had a student playing this piece as well. So I'll give some advice based on how I've learned the piece. So I think the first challenge here is to learn the combinations because they are not very comfortable. For example, this first measure, and they are also not very obvious. So I would say select right or left hand and start practicing separate hands. I will say it's better start with the left hand. So make sure you memorize, create like a muscle memory here in this first movement. I recommend you to repeat many times. Use the proper fingering, finger 3 and 1, because you will need this. Next step, I would say, stop here. Then we have the next chord or next combination here. And I will always stop when we add something new. So one more time. Let's learn the same section but right hand. So this one, it's more comfortable, it's more inside of your hand, and I recommend try to have very short movements and try to connect everything. Next step is to add the left hand. I would say do this. Try to listen to the sound of the chord. This is a beautiful chord. Then you stop in the next. Very slow. You have to repeat this until become like muscle memory. Then, in the transition of the measures, we have this second idea or this second line, which is with an accent. It's very dramatic. We, of course, we are not going to play that non-legato. However, we don't have a slur, but all the recordings I've been listening, it's legato. And the interesting thing here is that will sound detached from the previous layer. I like to think this as layers. So we always have this first layer that it's kind of soft and mysterious, and we have another layer that is dramatic and even harsh. So I like to think like this. Okay, second measure, I recommend you to really practice this movement. Make sure you are used to land here with finger 5 and 2, but with your hand a little bit inside so you can just do the octave with 4 and 1. The next step would be stop on this one and memorize this sound. Write this line. It's very important. Oops. Attention that we have to hold the C sharp. If you cannot reach, move your hand and you can hold a little bit with the pedal. Let's see the whole measure. Another thing here is we have no pedal marks, at least not in this edition, the Hangyu edition. But this is not a problem. Of course, we have to use the pedal. What I always tell my students is the pedal, it's much more about your ear than the marks you can find in the sheet music, because each piano is different. Also, if you're playing at your place or at a concert hall, that also makes difference on how you're gonna use the pedal. So it's more about your ear. So you have to find out at this point, as an advanced student, you might know how to do that. So same procedure here. You have to repeat, really know what you're doing here. And then again, you will play very slow. I recommend to do like one or half of the measure at a time. Learn how to move your hand here. You can have the E as a landmark. You have to keep that note or keep the finger on top of that key. This is something that I really like. I really like this A sharp, especially the one here in the bass. So then we have the next measure, which for me sounds pretty much as a transition. You can also think that as an answer for the first two measures or for the second measure. Then we have the fourth measure. The fourth measure is very interesting. I recommend you to do the right hand many times and use the fingering you have in the edition. So with this fingering you can connect everything. The left hand is not a big deal. Then we will have the repetition of the same idea in another key. Now in F sharp minor. So I will not comment this second line. It's the same procedure. Then at the end of this line, we have a ritardando and we have a fermata on the note E. Again, based on the recordings I've been listening, this is not a very long fermata. It's just to give like a breath after going to the next section where he will explore the major key. Let's see how this sounds. So I like to play this very piano. That was too much, but oh, one more time. See, it's hard. Make sure when you play E, let it go everything else. You want to listen to that E. We are going to E major, so that's the key we are going to. One more time, and then I will play the next measure. So here, I really like this sound of major 7 chord. So we have this. Wow, this is beautiful. And we have staccato legato, everything with pedal. This staccato legato means first the slur is showing you the phrase, and we can have staccato even though we are using the pedal, because it's not about being short. Staccato, it's detached. So basically, it's everything. I don't have another word, but detached. But just in terms of the attacks. So I think everything a little bit not very deep in the key. If I was playing this without pedal, probably would sound like very different. With the pedal. Okay, so that's how I see this staccato legato. Slur is a phrase, staccato is the way we attack, even though we are using the pedal. Then we have this transition, which is not complicated at all, but it's not very easy to play this in an interesting way. So what I think here is I like to grow to this chord, but it cannot be too much, because if I do too much, I kind of take the importance of the next time that will happen when we go to the 3/4. So I would say more something like this. Target that chord, but don't do too much. Also, the poco retardando here, I would consider like very small retardando here. Don't do too much, because again, you don't want to take off the importance of that. So we don't have a rest in the left hand here. However, I like to clean it up and having this E sounding more. This is personal, you don't have to do that. It can be more like, I'm sorry. I like to clean, I like this. Finally, we have that. So again, there's not too much to comment here. You have to read the notes. So, and here I would do the retardando to create this expectation. So then here we have 3 Fs. How can I do 3 Fs? Honestly, I don't know. I don't know if I am able to do. What I can say is, this will not happen if you push the key down. It's not about power. It's about just let your hand go. I think a good way to start practicing this movement, it's really, doesn't matter the notes, just let your arm fall on top of the keys. Don't push down. Just the weight of your forearm and your hand and the gravity is enough. That's what we want. But now with the notes. One more time. It looks silly, but it's really hard to play and have that sound. It took me years to learn how to let my arm go. So do not hesitate to practice that a lot. So then here you will have to follow the same procedure. You will have to figure it out, each combination. The good thing is, the first chord, it's a little bit like overlapping here, not too much. But the good thing is the second attack will be the same note. So another important thing here is we have accents for all the eighth notes except the first one, which is the bass. But we have 3 Fs over there. So he really wants this to sound harsh. So okay, and try to be dramatic. You can play with the tempo, but always try to sound 3. Here again we have the same idea of the layer. Pretty much the same phrase. This measure I think is my favorite. Some of the recordings I've listened to, the pianists like to emphasize the first attack here because it's really dramatic. Kind of wait a little bit in the first one. I like that idea, but not too much. And then here you have, make sure you're doing this forzato here, and make sure you hold the notes that we have to hold. So we have to hold this F sharp, and we have to hold the A. So we have this. And then finally, we land in this chord. And we have that C sharp we have to keep holding. I will play this last line and see the effect he wants here. So we always have to hold the F sharp, and at the same time the bass, it's doing a line here. We have this. Of course this is octave lower, but the line is, but he's very interesting the way he organized. So after playing the last chord, what I do is I move my finger 1 here, so I can really hold those 2 C sharps that are tied into the end of the piece, and then I can do this. Keep holding this C sharp, G sharp, C sharp, and then we have this. So it sounds, I'll play from this last chord, sounds like this. So we have a fermata in this chord here. So we have plenty of time to do that change. Look. See? So, and at the end of the piece we have Moscow, 1894. That's the year he wrote this. So I hope you enjoy, and A.Skrjabin is a great composer. I really recommend you to look for more of his works. That's it. See you in the next tutorial.